Yes, yes. Why, thank you, ladies. I know. I am awesome. Uh, Hey, guys! What you doing? Just, hanging out all together? Just, you, Range Viper, and, all these ladies? You having party or something? And were you gonna invite me? Were ya? Were ya? Ah, Techno Viper. Of course. How could we ever exclude you? Yeah, actually, it's Televiper, but I understand the confusion. No, no, no. No Cobra blokes are having a party on my watch. I'm about to put you all down. What? A G.I. Joe here? Don't worry, guys. I got him. Please, be my guest. Foolish G.I. Joe, you do not realize that with the power of my mighty Televiper Telegun, I can bring to life any characters from television that I wish. Now then, Mr. Real American Hero, prepare to fall before the superior power of Japanese anime! Oh, and by the way, I'm British. But, 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 but there's superior Japanese animation greatness. You do know anime is actually a French word, right? Yeah, I know. Everybody knows that. They're just too afraid to admit it. When it comes to toyline-based villains groups, one of the best is without question Cobra. They just have so many amazing, memorable characters, and their troops are so interesting, unique, and numerable that you really would never need to army build them to make a gigantic force, unless you really love one in particular. And now, with the ongoing success of the G.I. Joe Classified line, these amazing characters have been reborn in the 6-inch scale, and let's look at a couple of recent ones that I want to talk about. So let's start off with the Cobra Valkyries 2-pack, giving us the female version of the iconic Cobra Trooper that we have all been waiting for ever since we got the male version back at the beginning of the line. And they are a great set of soldier ladies. They really do everything to make their male counterparts look inferior. They have been covered head to toe in a sharp Cobra blue, with black pieces of armor, and of course, the blood red Cobra logo on the chest. There is one color choice on these ladies that not everyone is in love with, and that is one figure will have black straps and accessories, and the other has them in tan. Personally, I like the tan and how it gives some variety in the troops. After all, tan straps is a fairly common variant for Cobra Troopers, and I feel like if this wasn't the first time the Classified line included this look, people wouldn't have had as much of a problem with it. In the weapons department, they are fully loaded, with 2 rifles that can go on the backpack, one more sci-fi like, and one more realistic, 2 pistols stored on the right thigh and the other on the back of the belt, and lastly, the knife mounted on the chest. With these tools, you have more than enough to make these girls all feel unique with their armaments, and of course, all these blast effects. And one final piece of customization that is greatly appreciated is that they have 3 different heads to choose from. One with a white skin tone, a black skin tone, and a fully masked one. These, along with the extra helmets to make one of them into an officer if you wish, really gives you everything you could ever need. If army building is truly your passion, then these ladies are what you are going to want in your Cobra collection. For our next subject, we must look to the Walmart exclusive Night Force subline and see the 90s era classic that is the Range Viper, who made a very fantastic jump into this new scale, given how the job of the Range Viper is a wilderness survival specialist. It is fitting that he reuses the body of G.I. Joe's wilderness survival specialist, Outback, but you can hardly tell because of how good of a job the team at Hasbro did to make him his own. Looking amazing in this mostly black uniform with a hint of blue and yellow up top, his intimidation factor is at maximum with the bullet belt wrapped around his torso, and that crazy helmet with a skull-like face the gray brain wrinkles on the sides, the wire on the back going into the backpack. A lot of interesting details on this backpack. Like, what even is all that tech-looking stuff at the bottom? Is that a calculator? Bottom of the pack also has a hole in it, and that can be used to store the grenade launcher, which is a fun way to store the worst part of this otherwise great toy. Maybe it's just my copy, but this thing is super warped, and the ammo drum thankfully stays in pretty well despite being removable, but it still looks odd. I think this weapon is best left on the backpack, just looking cool rather than actually being used. When it comes to some weapons that are actually pretty great, he also comes packed with this nice machine gun, explaining why he's got all these bullets on him, and pistol, because every Joe in Cobra has one of those, and a sai, which is kind of odd, but a nice change of pace to everybody coming with knives. The Range Viper is a very creepy guy, and that's the point of him, to show us the scarier side of Cobra in this new classified world, and he does it perfectly. Now we jump on over from Walmart to Target, with Vipra, done up as part of the Python Patrol for the very first time. Now, she is usually a complete repaint, but this time, not of Jinx, because she hasn't appeared in the Classified line yet. Instead, she uses the body of Akiko, with the masthead from the Blue Ninja set, and the arms from Zorana, just to make her more special, I guess. Normally, Vipra wears the standard Cobra blue, but with this being a Python Patrol figure, she is adorned in the colors of her team, and even sporting the logo on her right shoulder. And given how we already have the nameless female Blue Ninjas, it does make sense to give us Vipra in some different colors to stand out. Also, it's nice to see how full of life her eyes are compared to the all-white soullessness of the blue ladies, even if I'm not going to get to enjoy those painted eyes too much, with how I'm going to be having her use this awesome skull mask that apparently is reused from the PulseCon version of Zartan, but hey, it's cool looking, and that's all that matters. The rest of her gear comes from the third version of Storm Shadow in the line, and sure, Vipra wasn't a ninja when she was first made, but being a repaint of a ninja kinda led her down that path. My only problem here is having the Arashikage symbol. It's a result of the reuse, but I just can't think she was ever a part of the clan. It does complete the package, and that's more important than the lore. To wrap things up, let's take a look at the addition to the Cobra motor pool we've all been waiting for, the Trouble Bubble, or Flight Pod if you want to be boring, and its included driver, the Televiper. I do gotta admit, the Televiper is not my favorite snake in the grass, and if it didn't come with this ride, I wouldn't have even got one. Even still, I do think he looks pretty nice with the dark blue and that always welcome splash of purple on the vest. That started a kind of tradition of all of Cobra's tech-based units having purple on them as a signifier. For people who are planning to build a bubble fleet, they did throw in 3 different heads. They give you a variety with the original white face, a black face with the expression mirrored, and this fully covered one with some kind of VR-looking headset, which is the one I like to use. I just feel like it stands out a bit. And of course, he has his gun, video camera, flashlight thing. It's never really been clear what this is, but it does look fun, and can use blast effects, so I guess if it wasn't a gun, then it is one now. It also reuses the cord piece from the barbecue figure to give him a hose to his backpack for the power supply, and I actually feel like this backpack is kinda small, which is really a problem with the peg used to store the gun, because unless you unplug the hose, it's just going to be rubbing into the elbow. But enough about the pilot. Let's look at his mode of transportation. After all, this is what you really bought this set for. Here, in some dull grayish white, making it really feel like something made for industrial use, covered in all these graphics from serial numbers to warning labels to these big old Cobra logos on the giant thrusters. And they'll have to be giant if they can lift this thing into the air, even with those movable fins. Now, when it comes to what this flying ball of metal can do in combat and actually flying, we have this big block with the steering handles on it, and it has this target screen for the pilot to look at. And these are what I assume cameras to give us what the screen is showing. Under the controls, we got a big old laser cannon on a ball joint to move it around and have firing on ground troops below. It's also got these missiles mounted on the sides, and these are probably what were used to shoot down those Sky Strikers that are printed on the thrusters. These missiles use the well-known G.I. Joe dumbbell peg system to connect to these fins that they made removable for people who want a more classic-looking TB. And this is a good idea on paper, but one that should have been left on the drawing board. Because when you go to remove one of these warheads, you just pull the whole storage system off, which is just very annoying. Lastly, it has the mine as one more callback to the original toy. It's a lot smaller than it used to be and can't be put in the driver's seat to turn it into a drone like the old version. In fact, it seems like the only way to store it is by plugging it into the back of the cannon, which is going to limit its movement. I get why they wanted to include the mine, but they really didn't need this thing. Now pull down the control stick, pop open the hatch, and undo the seatbelt. Insert whatever figure of your choice, and I love that they made the seat big enough to let the figure still have its backpack on. Very nice touch. And there you go. You have a full trouble bubble in your classified world. These figures are very well done, which isn't that shocking with how high quality this line has been. Sure, not every figure will be for everybody, that's true about anything, but a good toy is a good toy, and I can always appreciate when that happens.